everyone, this is Ben Falcon's Media Corner back again with a brand new AK After I Saw Review episode for today, which this is going to be on a film that I saw that was released this year for 2022, which I actually saw this film on Saturday, but today I'm here to give you guys my views on this film, so here we go. Today's review I'm here to talk to you guys about is the 2022 horror comedy film, and that is Studio 666. So this film is directed by B.J. McDonnell, and the story of the film is that we follow, of course, this famous rock band known as the Foo Fighters, which basically in this movie, they're about to basically make their 10th album, and they basically are trying to figure out a way how to make this album much better than ever. And by doing that is that they go to this abandoned house or mansion in which they use it to basically record their new song they're about to make together. However, for the frontman of the band, Dave Grohl, he finds out about this place that himself as well as the band members are living. It's been possessed all those years ago because there was this old rock band person who he was recording his own music there, but what happened was that he got possessed by something dangerous and then he ended up committing suicide. And for Dave, he ends up catching this supernatural thing that's possessing his entire body, and it's making him act very different around him as well as in front of his band members, and his band members have no idea what the hell is going on. So what happens to Dave is that he starts to basically go in completely insane and then just doing horrific stuff, and it's threatening his life as well as for the band members' lives. And from here on there, we have a horror comedy film. So that's pretty much the story of Studio 666. So before I get into what I did think of this movie, my experiences with the band Foo Fighters, I have grew up with some of their songs when I was a kid, and some of the songs I have I've heard from them when I was a kid. I still listen to them to this day, and I do tend to like those songs. And for some of the songs I never heard when I was growing up that I started listening to before I saw this film, I think they are considered their best ones, especially their song Everlong, which is one of their best songs ever they've done together as a band. And I didn't even know what this whole movie was going to be about, other than I've heard Foo Fighters were going to be in a horror comedy. So I didn't see the trailer or anything in cinemas whatever I was seeing at the time until when the movie just came out of nowhere. It came out in the same week as The Duke was released in the UK, which I went to see that first. And then and when I heard what kind of movie this was about, I decided to give this a go because again, because I do like horror, and I do love horror and I love comedy. And especially with those two being combined together, there are some pretty good hits we've had before in the past. You know, Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland 2, the original Evil Dead movies from Sam Raimi and all that. And so I saw the trailer before on the day before I went to see the movie, and the trailers looked really insane for what the movie was going to be like. And so I went to see this on a Saturday of this week, and it wasn't quite packed as. Well, I went to see the on Friday, because on Friday I went to see The Duke, and that was really packed. But for this one, it wasn't quite as packed though. But it still didn't matter though. But after seeing Studio 666, I had a really good time with this movie. Now, this is not by all means one of the best horror comedies I've seen in recent years since Shaun of the Dead or Zombieland or Evil Dead or anything like that. But I did have a pretty good time with this film. It is pretty cheesy though, and pretty silly and over the top, but I still had a fun time with it though. The stars of the film, like the main stars, who of course the Foo Fighters band, the acting talents in the film, which of course they're playing themselves pretty much really. The acting talents in this movie are pretty over the top and quite silly, but they're kind of fun. But they are pretty fun for a few scenes, like when there's a few scenes where they do butt heads with each other in this film. When we see Dave, like he's desperate to get this 10th album to be better than ever and all that, and then the band members are like growing sick and tired of his antics and all that, like criticism he's saying to them, like play this drum better, play this solo better and all that kind of stuff. It is pretty funny, but it at the same time it is pretty silly though. But the band, you know, them being together, they are fun to watch since they are a pretty cool band. And there are some small names who are in this movie who are just playing different characters other than which they're not playing themselves. But like you got Jeff Garlin from the Toy Story sequels, which he was in Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4, as you may know him as the voice of Buttercup. He's in the movie, and I thought he was pretty funny in the movie. And the other acting talents, for the most part in the film, are pretty funny, and pretty silly and over the top at the same time. And I thought everyone for the most part were not too bad overall. And as for the kills in this film, the kills in this movie are absolutely insane to watch. There's a lot of crazy amount of bloody, gory shit in this film, which it had me like shocked on me seat, but not like I was scared or anything. I was just like, oh my god, while I was watching this movie. Like, there's a really crazy there's a comical sex scene in this movie, and there's a crazy comical kill for that, which I won't describe what happens because it'll be spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this movie though. But if you are willing to watch it, I would 100% you go and check out this movie if it is playing at a local cinema near you though. But for that scene, it was super crazy while I was watching it, and there are some crazy other amounts of crazy kills in the movie which I did not see coming, and I was just like, oh my god, while I was watching it, and I was almost laughing my ass off as well because of how comical it is, and the effects for when we do see the blood and gore splattered all over the screen, as well as like vomit like right at your face and all that kind of effects, like the vomit's like splattered right in front of your face on the screen, and as well as having like lightning effects. The effects in this film, they're not that great. They're not atrociously awful like The Mummy Returns, but the effects in the film, they're not that great, but they are pretty silly and really cheesy though. And for its storytelling in the movie, it does have some familiar essence to Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead trilogy, mainly the first one, where, you know, in that film it's basically about a group of teens who go to an abandoned cabin, and of course they encounter some demons. And it does have, you know, in that film of course has horror and comedy to it. This one does have as well, but this one is very different in that sense. It doesn't involve a group of teenagers, and just involves, you know, a famous band like this, Foo Fighters, encounter crazy demons and stuff like that. But if you are a fan of this band Foo Fighters, or if you're a fan of horror and comedy, this will definitely be your popcorn treat. And again, I had a pretty good time with it. But I want to say this is the best horror comedy in years since Zombieland or Shaun of the Dead or the Evil Dead movies. But but this one is definitely a good watch for this year. I'm going to give Studio 666 a 3.5 out of 5. Yeah, it's a pretty good, solid rating for a pretty fun movie. Again, this is not like one of the best of this year. It's definitely not the worst of this year, but it is a good watch for this year. And again, I would really recommend you check out this movie if you're a fan of the band, or if you're a fan of horror and comedy or anything like that. So thank you guys so much for watching for my AKF first review on Studio 666, and let me know what you think of this movie if you did get a chance to see it. Did you have an absolute blast of it, or was this not your popcorn treat? And thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews, and as always, this has been Hawkins Media Corner signing off.